Hello and welcome to another interview with the devs. I'm joined today by Jericho, the developer and creator of Remember the Flowers. And I am also joined today by Orion and Zhang. And
Correct.
would you like to introduce yourselves a little bit and, talk about what you do for the visual novel?
Sure. Hi, my name is Jericho. I am the creator and writer for Remember the Flowers.
Hello, I'm Orion. I'm the coder, I'm the director. I take care of some of the assets in the background.
Okay, I am Zhongir. I draw and make animations for this wonderful team of people.
Okay, so...
I'm also...
Okay, well, aside from the people here, I know that there's other people that work on the visual novel, and I would like to know if you would like to talk about them a little.
Sure. Orion, who do you think we should start with? Because there's a Mo, I think. Probably Mo.
Oh, yeah. 100% Mo.
Yeah, Mo has been around since before. He made my first song before I even thought of making the visual novel. And then when I was like, I think I'll make a visual novel, he was the one I went to. And he's made, I think, 12 tracks so far, something like that.
It's about 10 or I think it's 10 or 11 tracks.
He's done a great job with the ambience and like capturing the feel for everything.
He's a king. Love him.
Praise. All hail Matt Mo.
Because we have a pretty decently sized team, I think. So we have Mo for music.
Look at the credits. Like, we have so many people in the credits now, it's hard to keep track of them all now.
Right. So
especially making them.
Okay, so
really fun.
So with the music, yeah, we have Mo makes the original compositions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have a couple of other music artists that have given us like permission to use their music, which is SC's Axel and Abuse, who did music for Echo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think we're gonna work with Abuse for like some original stuff soon, right?
Yes, because Abuse, he is good with the dark stuff, and we need dark stuff in the future.
For no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't even, yeah. That's just our music people, because Jericho knows all the artists, because there's a lot of artists, I think.
I think every single artist is somebody I've known personally, at least at some point or time. I'm trying to look at, we're trying to think of them all, because Tofu, what's his Twitter? Is it Snowcone still? I think it's Snowcone.
I think so.
He's who I went for to like start out everything. He's the one who did all of he did a lot of original stuff like Cooper and Damion Sprites' sketches. And then my friend Moose did the lines, and Scone did the coloring, and Scone and Moose still do the lines and coloring, but with the new sprites we had Bork do a few. Wild did all of Rose's sketches and line art, and who am I forgetting? Robin did all of Diana's stuff at the beginning, along with a lot of concept art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jericho just found me on the street and he's like, work for me, and I was like, oh, okay.
I picked you up and I wrapped you in a little blanket, and I was like, you're gonna do a lot of work for me, and you were like,
what I remember, I have still bruises from chains. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the animation, like, we needed that almost ASAP. So,
yeah, thank you for crediting me finally. Yeah,
I'm just preparing.
The thing that you first see when you open the game, that was just some dude. I don't know. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was
caught my
forever.
eyes.
Yeah, thank you.
I know that was the big, that caught a lot of people's attention because we posted that like a week before we went live, and people loved the music and the art style of the title screen.
And
you're welcome.
I think that's all the artists, right?
Besides like the CG artists.
Oh yeah.
Because we have Defiant Drills who did.
Yeah.
Excuse me. they did some design work. They did all of Rose's design, and they did the first CG in the game where you first meet Pooper.
Our boy.
Moose did a couple early CGs of Cyrus when you actually see him, because I love how Moose draws people, and I knew immediately I wanted to work with them more. Hackfurs did the Bulgy Wulgy CG on the train. That was one of the first pictures I ever got of Remember the Flowers, and then I was like, hey, can I make this a CG? And he was like, for what? And I'm like, a project, and he's like, okay. And then Zahn did most of the rest of them. I don't remember. What was there another one that we got? That wasn't done by Jean.
I did like 2, I think.
You've done a handful of them.
You did the train one where they were being really sweet with each other.
I'm so sad that the penis version didn't make it.
So you did the train. You did the one when they're inside the vehicle, and then you did the one at the dinner, and then you did.
Oh yeah, the dinner one was really cute.
Holy shit, I did a lot. Wow.
You did a recent one.
Yeah, I should be paid more, not gonna lie.
Wow.
Hang on, I'm gonna get my Cash App out right now.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's all the artists, right?
I think so. Pav did Vita's like bass.
Oh yeah.
Because at the time, I think Moose was really busy. Not trying to say that Pav isn't good and was like a second choice, but I was like, hey Pav, I like how you draw people. Can you do this for me? And they were like, sure.
Kind of sauce, honestly. Pav, you gotta be careful if you're listening.
Did a good job.
Yeah, it was very sexy art.
I think that's it for artists. So as for, there's only one other teammate on the team, as far as I'm aware, who isn't an artist, and that's Azzy. He is the sole editor of RTF and has been around like since the very beginning, before most artists even got on the team, because at the time I didn't have a lot of assets, but I already had a story that I needed serious professional help to like edit. Like you'll see in a month when we're gonna do a little stream reading the first draft of RTF. It was so rough that as he came back to me and was just like, homie, what is this? We need some serious help with this. And like, I'm so glad I have a professional helping me with this, because he steered me in the right direction and really helped me figure out how to refine the story how I wanted it. It only took only 2 official quote unquote drafts to really like get in the flow of everything. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have like found my flow or like my writing style for the BN. So I'm very thankful for Azzy for being there from the beginning and helping me figure out how I want to write everything.
Anyone who you forgot will kill you later.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if we did forget someone.
We'll edit it in post.
Exactly.
We'll put like a text-to-speech thing at the end, like, and X, Y, and Z.
People wanted to know what the inspiration behind the story was.
Let me see. I'm trying to be careful with my words. I'm trying to be as professional as possible. At the time, I should have asked, are we assuming that people have read Build 9 already?
No, this is going to go up before that.
This is good. Okay, so that I won't spoil that. Oh, that's going to be difficult. I'll try and filter myself so not to spoil anything.
You can do it.
Well, at least for the first like arc of Pooper being a human trafficker, at the time I know there was a lot of #MyWolf VNs, and as much as I love Amicus and a couple others, I was like, well, what if this wasn't it's probably not a good idea to be kidnapped by somebody or like forced into somebody. So I wanted to play around with that and just like play it straight, like, oh no, this guy's like an asshole, because I love media that subverts expectations, so I wanted to try and do that myself.
You want to be a special girl, yeah. You succeeded.
Pooper's not like the other girls, he's a human trafficker.
Oh my
That's
god.
his hair behind his ear, oh my god, he's so dreamy.
I think I also like the amnesia trope, but I don't think some stories like use it very well a lot of the times. Like, so I wanted to like actually use his past memories to like sprinkle in little details along the way, because I think that's a thing. What's it called? I think it's a story element that's underrated. I don't know. I just wanted to do it.
So, are there other visual novels that inspired your stories?
Absolutely. I mean, Ad Astra, I think, inspired all of us into just like being creative, because he proved you can just make a linear story and make it successful. And it only took like 2 years. That how long Ad Astra took to make?
I think it was 2 years.
I think it was about 2 years, which isn't a long time for visual novels. So I was like, I want to try it. There are some other visual novels that inspired me, but I don't think I should talk about them for reasons that I shouldn't talk about them.
Jericho.
Jericho.
Anyway.
The atmosphere down.
Well, okay then. So, people wanted to know if you have a process for writing, like mentally preparing yourself and stuff.
Excuse me. So at the time, when I first started, it took me a while to even be able to like write 1,000 words in like 2 days, and now I can write about 2,000 words in a sitting, which is like a couple hours. And you just kind of, at least for me, I just kind of like get in the mindset of like, okay, I need to write. Like it's kind of an obligation, like because of like the Patreon stuff. It's kind of a motivating factor for me to like actually push out work. Not that I'm saying that I need the Patreon to push out work, but I don't know how to describe it. What is it called? I don't know. It's something with ADHD, and like you need a threat to really be motivated.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
so I switched from full-time to part-time at my job at a clinic, and that's given me 2 days a week to be like, okay, these aren't days off, these are days where I am still working, just on a different thing. So I just have to like, it is like a job, so I'm like, I'm working, I gotta do this, or else it's not gonna come out well.
Makes sense.
But there are some days where I'm like, I'll get like a couple hundred words down, and I'm like, I can't do this today, and then I'll try the next day.
That's fine.
So, talking about that, have you ever had any like bouts of self-doubt when writing the story?
Not self-doubts regarding the story, but more of just like the project as a whole. I sometimes worry that, or not worry, but sometimes it's a hard time I still have a hard time processing that people do like my project. I still think of it as just like something I put out, and I read people's comments on it. But then I see that Discord has like over 1,000 people in it at this point, and I'm like, oh wait, this isn't just like a small thing anymore. It is something that a decent amount of people are into. So sometimes that's a little bit scary.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have confidence in a lot of things, but I do have some confidence in my writing because I did go to school for it. So I think I'm pretty okay with that.
And you have confidence in us too.
Yeah, honestly, if it wasn't for y'all, this wouldn't have happened.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
We just want to help you bring your story to life.
I think that's also something like it's almost like the sunk cost fallacy. We've all put in so much effort into it. Like I want to make it as good as it can be.
Oh yeah.
So, what would you say to people that want to start their own visual novel but don't know where to begin?
It depends. I would say it really depends on what you're going for it. Like, do you want to be successful, or do you just want to have like a good time? It can be either or. But I would be wary if you wanted to do it just to be popular or anything. I don't think that's a mindset you should go into, because you're gonna, like, even us, when we first started, I had like 70 people download it, and like, oh my gosh, that's so many people. I'm so happy, that's so many people. And now we're like over 20,000 something.
Yes.
I would say that there is some luck in getting to that point if you're trying to like be quote unquote successful. But if you're just trying to have a good time, just like do whatever you want and don't worry about what other people think about.
Have you ever had bouts of writer's block?
Writers, but not really. I think of new things like almost all the time that I try and like write down. I don't want to say I've never, but I don't usually have days where I'm sitting at the computer like, oh, I don't know what to write. Because I've already pretty much figured out what I'm writing, like, ahead of time. I have, like, most of the story plotted out. So, I don't usually get writer's block, but I hope that doesn't change.
Get on Jericho's level.
Well, on average, how long does it usually take to create a chapter for Remember the Flowers?
By, like, writing or, like,
Well, yeah,
actually
writing.
the whole build? Writing, honestly, like a week's time. Like I can write usually like 1,500 to 2,000 words in a sitting now. Like yesterday, I went to a cafe and I wrote 1,800 words in one sitting after not writing for a couple weeks.
Mysterious in a cafe. Wow.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
So let's see. So I would say like a chapter's worth is I usually like to make it around 10K words. It's sometimes a little bit less, it's sometimes more, but I would say no more than 7 days total out of the month is like actually writing.
Out of all the characters that you introduced so far, are there some that you like more than others?
This might be weird to say, but I do like Cooper a lot because it is really fun to see people like bend over backwards to like try and defend him a lot of the times, and I love that because I'm like, this man sold you. Why do you like him so much?
He's my boy.
But I will say that writing him for 5 months straight because he was like the only one on screen for a while was a little tiring. So I was glad that like push him out of the way and make some new friends. I would say that. I do like Aaron a lot. I mean, actually, I think I like them all pretty equally. I love all my children equally. That's my answer.
Okay, so in the previous interviews that I did, some of the people were saying that some of the characters that they wrote were based on people that they actually know. So are any of the characters that you are writing based on any people that you know, even loosely based?
Yeah, actually, Diana was based on one of my classmates from when I was traveling abroad to Scotland. She was Chinese, and her name was Diane, and she was always really supportive of me. At the time, we kind of lost touch because COVID happened, and we haven't seen each other since. And I think she's back in China, so I don't know if we'll ever see or talk to each other again. But our time together was really, really nice to me because she always was really patient with me when we were in class together.
Oh my god, the lore. I'm learning today.
I have a little charm she gave me that I still have in my bag.
That's nice. And people wanted to know if there was a reason why you made the main character asexual.
Oh, I'm asexual. And I kind of like looked around at all these visual novels being like, I don't know any on the top of my head that have an asexual protagonist. So I was like, why don't I do that? I think I had plans for another visual novel down the line that I wanted to do that was also going to have an ace protagonist. And I think that's just going to be my niche, is like making asexual visual novels.
Yeah, the representation.
Yeah. Which is funny because I see a lot of people being like, is there going to be sex because he's asexual? And I'm like, well, some asexual peoples have sex. They sometimes enjoy it, sometimes they don't. So to answer that question early, just wait and see.
You actually did answer one of the questions that was for later. Which there was a lot of horny people in the comments asking
yeah.
you. Like,
Even on Itch, I see a lot of people asking that, and I don't answer ever because one, I don't want to like spoil anything, but also I do think it's a little rude to ask because it makes me feel like if you're only interested in it because you're horny, I don't know. It makes me feel bad.
Honestly, I like the story how it is. It's sometimes when you read certain visual novels and then it just goes straight to wanting to get into someone's pants, it's kind of like, ugh.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember
I feel that.
there was a story I remember of like it took like less than like 10 minutes after meeting someone for them to get all over each other. And I'm like, I just met you. This is weird.
Well, another question is, what do you foresee in the future of your story? Do you plan to expand the world of Remember the Flowers, or maybe like create other visual novels for it?
I like about a couple months ago I thought of an idea for a potential quote unquote sequel for like way down the line. And I would still like to try and do that at some point, but I realized with Remember the Flowers part one, whatever it's called, it's expensive. I need to like plan out more assets like way ahead of time before I even think about doing another visual novel. But if I have the assets and the time and the planning, I would love to make the sequel idea I have.
Something that people wanted to know is, how long do you think the story of Remember the Flowers will last? Like, how many chapters?
I'd say we're like maybe 40 to 45% of the way done at this point. It fluctuates a lot because I've introduced a lot of things that I want to explore more. Excuse me. So it could be, I would say no more than 2 years. Like a year and a half is probably the most.
Is there something in the story, either plot-wise, character-wise, or even coding-wise, that you would like to change somewhere down the line?
Absolutely. I recently reread a lot of the early stuff, and I'm like, ooh, yikes! I want to touch up on some stuff just so that it looks better and it makes more sense. There's definitely some stuff in hindsight that I wish I set up a little bit better, but I think overall most of everything's landed pretty well. But yeah, there's probably some things I want to change.
People wanted to know, because certain visual novels were starting to add animated sprites, and they wanted to know if you would eventually have that in your visual novel.
Live 2D sprites are like really cool, but they're also like way more expensive. I would say that like money is like the biggest thing, because like as most people know, is like I don't draw. I pay pretty much everything for it to be in the visual novel. So unfortunately, a lot of like I think that's some people were saying how they thought it was weird how each character only has one pose, and to be honest, that's only because I could only afford that. So to answer the question, probably not. It'd be cool if I had the time and the money to like save up for live 2D sprites, but I'd say right now probably not.
So are there things in the story that you're excited to introduce?
Absolutely. I talked to Orion and a couple other friends like on Discord like all through the night with ideas I have, and Orion's like had to like take a moment to like leave for a second after I told him some.
Like
So
Jericho.
I'm excited to do that to everybody.
No. Man, yeah. The story's gonna go places, that's all I can say.
Something that I saw from another YouTube video that was discussing how sometimes certain video games and maybe even stories tend to change when people find out like the twist ahead of time. Have you ever had a moment where that happened, where somebody like figured out what was going to happen, and you're like, oh no, I don't want that. No, I don't want people to be able to figure it out that easily. I need to change my story. Or where you're like, oh, you know what? Good for you.
So far I've been more in the, oh, good for you, you figured it out. And I think I just had to come to the realization that if I see like 100 people theorizing and only one person gets it, then it's really only one person that got it. It's not like everybody knows now. So it's just people when they like in the theorizing chats in the Discord server. There's been a couple times where I've sent like screenshots to like Orion or Azzy being like, oh, they figured it out. And they're like, hee, they figured it out. Oh well.
I'm happy for them.
A lot, but yeah, I'm also happy for them. That means, because if they figured it out, that means I set it up well.
Yes, exactly.
I think that changing, because somebody figured it out is kind of defeating the point of setting it up. Obviously, you don't want to be too obvious with like twists and stuff, but it's okay for people to figure it out beforehand.
I know that recently you went to FWA and people wanted to know if you get recognized now as like, oh, you're the creator of Remember the Flowers, or like on an internet forum or something like that.
I mean, in Discord, pretty much in the furry VN space, people will be like, oh, you're the author, because that's just like what I'm known for in that space. But outside of like the Echo Project Discord chat, like my Discord chat, I don't really get recognized. I mean, on Twitter, it's in my bio that I did it, and some people will be like, oh, you're that guy. But at FWA, only one person knew who I was, and that was a mutual friend of another VN dev. So I don't think that counts, personally. No, when I was at FWA, I didn't, I'm kind of glad that nobody, I didn't know how I would react to somebody coming up to me like, oh my gosh, it's you. And I'm like, yeah, hi.
I'm gonna grill you for spoilers.
You'd be surprised, like, people will just, like, at least on itch, they'll just ask questions like, what happens in the plot? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen some of those lately.
They're like, when is X, Y, and Z happening? And I'm like, why don't you find out? I can't tell you that.
Find out later. Jeez.
Well, aside from writing a visual novel, is there anything you'd like to do in your spare time?
I play games way too much.
Gotcha.
Orion definitely knows. Yeah, I play a lot of gacha games, which I'm not the most proud of how much I play them.
Whatever makes you happy.
That's kind of what I've had to like be like. You know what? I'm productive. I work a lot. I can have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, League of Legends. I play way too much League of Legends.
Oh, I forgot about that. Boo.
Boo. I know. I'm sorry. I can't help it. It's a problem. And anime. I like anime.
No, I'm kidding. Watch Mob Psycho.
Mob Psycho got its third season announced the other day. I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna bust not when I watch the season, I swear.
Jean.
What?
Oh wait, no, there better not be children watching this.
Oh my god.
I say that, but unfortunately, people sometimes do slip in.
We
To block them.
I wouldn't be
know
surprised
who
if,
you are.
because I know a lot of minors will try and pretend they're 18 plus on like itch, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get away with the VN content, but just by watching it on YouTube because it's there.
I'm sure.
That's why
What
I
can you
started
do?
like duck censoring. So now everything that either says that's either a genitalia or refers to one or something like that, it's gonna have a duck sound, and it even has a little rubber ducky over the word.
I love that.
So now we're gonna get into Orion specific questions, or
Oh,
the
aye.
more technical
Okay.
side.
Okay.
So do you find it daunting to be working on a visual novel?
Not really.
Be honest.
At first, it probably was a little. Well, okay, it wasn't really that hard to get into it, and it's not. I'm one of those people that get overwhelmed by the idea of doing it, but whenever I actually do it, it's super easy. Of course, there's like a bunch of back and forth between me and Jericho to decide if he liked what I did, but no, I don't think it's really that daunting to do it. Once you like get into the groove of it and you know what you want to do and how to do it, it's not that hard to do.
So could you elaborate a little as to what you do for Remember the Flowers and maybe even Arches? Because I know you kind of sort of help with that too.
Yes. So for Remember the Flowers, I do most of the coding for the most part. So Jericho, he makes the script. He kind of gives me like a skeleton code, and then from there that's when I started applying like all the backgrounds, the music, the sounds, making sure everything is not broken. And then I do all the basic stuff, and then I go back over 1 million times and make sure everything's polished. And then I get with Jericho and our editor Azzy, and we do our final run through of it to make sure all the grammar is good. It takes a little bit of time it takes about a week, I think, to get all that done. For Arches specifically, Arches is a different story. Arches, it's already coded. Hallie already does everything for Arches, but because he's a busy man, I take the time to go through what he's already done and see if there's anything I can possibly pretty up, do something with the colors, maybe add like special effects here and there. It's more polished than like Remember the Flowers, because with Remember the Flowers, I'm entirely involved in everything that's going on in the script itself.
So, did you have any formal training with coding before you started working on this visual novel?
I did not. I had zero experience with coding anything. I think I got into it so haphazardly. I think I literally I started helping Jericho with some stuff because we talked about this back during Christmas time, and I wanted to help with his visual novel in some way. So I just kind of started opening the scripts and just kind of looked them over and I was figuring out how REMP works, because I think REMP is based off of Python.
Mm-hmm.
But actually coding a visual novel is not difficult. It's not difficult at all. So I just kind of went over it and I'm like, oh, this is super easy. And the base of REMP is easy. Once you start getting to a little more on the technical side is when it gets a little more difficult. But that's pretty much it. I didn't have any formal training. I just asked questions. I looked at it. If there's something I wanted to accomplish with the coding, went to Google or went to Reddit, went to Google, asked the question, and you can usually find anything you ask, you'll find an answer for it, guaranteed. So no, I did not have any formal training on it.
So, have there ever been times when you're working on either, well, mostly on Remember the Flowers, where you're like, I don't know if I can actually do what they're asking me to do, or something like that?
Not because whenever I get the script from Jericho, for the most part, it's all up to me, how to present the whole thing. There are a few times, especially for the latest build that hasn't come out yet, where he will give me a little bit of direction in the script of how exactly he wants visuals to play out. And sometimes he will give me he will find backgrounds to use every now and then. For the most part, most of the presentation in these later builds, it's just kind of starting from scratch. So I thought there hasn't really been a time where I don't think I was delivering what he wanted. And even then, it's like I said, we have a lot of back and forth, and I'll show him what I've done so far to see if he's okay with it.
Is there anything technical-wise that was a challenge to implement?
It's a good question. The hardest part of using REMP is messing with menus and stuff. So anything probably menu related was kind of difficult. The most taxing thing I ever did was, you may or may not remember it, but during the train scene with Cyrus and Cooper, before we had John's animation, there's the part where you have the landscape that's going from right to left on the screen. Because originally that scene, it was just a static image, but to me it was such an important scene to go. I kind of wanted to try something out with it. So that scene has at least 5 or 6 different layers of images, and I had to make all of those images from scratch. I opened up Clip Studio and I drew everything that's going on in that scene from scratch, the 6 different layers. And then I had to implement them. I had to change the speeds. I wanted to make it not look because it looked kind of rough in the beginning. So I had to rework it a lot. That was probably the most difficult thing to implement, but it was also probably my biggest achievement when doing that.
So, is there anything in the future, from a technical standpoint, that you want to implement into the story?
That is also a good question. I don't know if this is spoilers or not. I mean, there's going to be fight scenes in the future at some point, and that'll be fun to do, technically and visually. That's probably far off, but that's something I'm really excited to try to do in the future.
Have you ever looked at another visual novel, because I've done this, at their coding and stuff like that, and say, I want to try to, emulate that, or, do that for Remember the Flowers?
Oh, 100%. I think there were a couple of visual novels that I'd seen, and whether or not it was something that I wanted to achieve, because I had some ideas that I wanted to try, I just didn't get to implement them, and then I just happened to see like another visual novel actually had already done it, and so I like looked at the script and see how they accomplished it, and I kind of like I took that, I tweaked it to work for Remember the Flowers instead. But I've definitely drawn inspiration from other visual novels.
So aside from working on the visual novels, is there anything that you like to do in your spare time?
Oh, I love to draw. I love to play video games. I love to watch TV shows, especially with friends. But yeah, pretty much to draw and play video games.
So now you, Zhongir. Are you there?
That's me.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I'm daunting.
So what does it feel like to be working on such a well-received visual novel?
It feels super nice. I feel obviously grateful that my art has been seen as worthy enough to be showcased, used in the story, such as that. Though I will be honest, I'm not really active aside from drawing for this visual novel. So as soon as I get updates on story whenever I get commissioned by Jericho, and one moment is for me is just a story about a yellow wolf and a guy, and then the next there's suddenly 4 new characters that I gotta draw that I see for the first time. So I don't really get to see. I like skipped that explosion. How Jericho's visual novel got popular. There's a car passing by, so it's gonna be loud for a second. Fuck you. No, I'm kidding. I love you. Goodbye. And yeah, it feels nice. I feel grateful for everything, for all of you. I love you guys.
We love you too, Jean. It's fun. It's fun. So we like to look at we like to watch video playthroughs of Remember the Flowers, and we love it whenever they react to the art, specifically like Jean's art. So every time we see like a nice, wholesome reaction, we like to show Jean. Remember, you were very happy when you showed you.
Yeah, because I don't really get to see people's live reactions at all. Because I just send it, Jericho, Orion. They kind of text coldly, so I like, okay, they like it. Fine.
Excuse me?
So I'm like, okay.
That's a lie.
And when I see such positive reviews on my art, it warms my heart. And yeah, it was nice.
Did you expect people to like your animations and drawings so much?
Yes, because I put so much effort into that. If they didn't like that, I would probably quit art at all. No, I didn't expect it for people to like it that much, but I do know that I know how to animate, and I know how to make a picture visually pleasing. But yeah, I already forgot the original question.
No, well, you answered it. More or less.
Okay.
So, what has been your favorite piece of art for this visual novel that you've done?
Most likely the animation.
Mm.
Oh, wait, beside animation?
No, I mean, like, either animation or art or whatever.
The animation, probably. And that's second. And the first is the loading screen for the phone version of the visual novel. Because I put so much effort into that one. You gotta check it out.
I have an iPhone. I can't do that.
Wow,
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
problematic. But I liked animating it. I specifically remember listening to Olivia Rodrigo's album while making the background, because I don't usually paint backgrounds, and I feel like I'm really content with how it came out. And it started right as when my software that I was drawing previously, it started to decline. Suddenly, I've been facing a lot of issues drawing there. It was Krita. And I was sad that I just got used to brushes there, and I had to switch to Clip Studio, which I still enjoy, but it's sometimes super annoying. But yeah, the animation will be my favorite one, even though the other 4 DGs I did are quite nice as well, I must say.
They are all very nice.
Thank you.
I really did like the dinner one. That one was really like where you first like get to see them all together like that. That's
It's
really
so
nice.
Oh, yeah.
wholesome.
It was done in a chaos of a lot of things. It was done in the end of my previous semester, and when I flew back, and it was coops in my country, and then the internet was gone, and I couldn't contact Jericho for like 2 days.
Oh,
and I
no.
was like, fuck, what do I do?
Oh no.
And yeah, and Jericho was like, oh, there's also, can you work on another one? I'm like, okay, sure. Wow. And yeah, it was interesting. I'm glad you liked it. And I saw some people using it as profile pictures, and I get 10 years to my life whenever I see that.
Yay.
People do that.
Is there any one particular CG or drawing or animation or something that you had trouble getting right?
Everything. Honestly, there would not be a point that there would be at least once whenever I'm drawing and animating, when I would ask myself, what the fuck am I doing, and will I finish this? And honestly, I was like, every time, like midway, like past the sketch phase, I would be like thinking of messaging Jericho, I don't think I'm gonna finish this, but I just suck it up and like kind of do my best. And it takes a while, and I'm super slow as well, and I cannot believe how y'all are bearing me.
You're doing your best.
I'm
That's all we can ask for.
Yeah, but what if it's not enough? That's
No,
what my
everything you've
side is
everything
thinking.
everything you've
They
done is
hate me.
beautiful.
Or is it?
It's beautiful.
There you go. That was my brain. Everything takes a lot of effort for me sometimes. But I'm glad that most of the times, 9 out of 10 times, I manage to finish stuff. Yeah, I'm looking forward to suffering in the future if Jericho decides to commission me more.
Well, it's really just if you're able to. I don't want to overwhelm you while you're still at school.
No, you can. It's fine.
Okay, then.
I'm used to it at this point.
Okay, phew. Don't have to worry about that anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. If I'll start crying in front of you, you just slap me and say, you asked for it. And I'll continue working. I am in your basement right now, though.
Yeah,
So
it's okay.
I don't have a choice.
So what would you say is the hardest thing for you when either just drawing in general or for the visual novel?
I super enjoy sketching out earlier concepts and just sketches. I usually, even in commissions for other people, just individuals, I would make a bunch. And in my sketchbook especially, I really enjoy just making thumbnails. And that's probably my most favorite part. And then it gets tricky. How do I'm making very... I try to be realistic and not be too enthusiastic, and keep in mind my limits. But sometimes yeah, as I mentioned before, I get into a point, what the fuck am I doing? And I reach that point in various times. It can be like line art or color or just anatomy sometimes. That would make me insane, but it depends honestly on the piece. In the dinner scene, I think I struggled a lot with the colors and the lighting there. It looks kind of iffy to me, but I just try my best and push through it. Usually,
you did amazing.
Thank you. Yes, I'm perfect at the end, and realize I always by the end of each piece I realize no, I'm perfect. I slay, and I have just no issues with me.
That's how you should be. That's how you should live your life.
Yes. Slaying. Just slaying. I was slaying, will slay, am slaying.
There you go.
Do you have a process for getting ready to do the art?
My life is super chaotic, and usually my process is just try to get all the huge stuff. I complete them first because the reason, like 80% of the time, why it's hard for me to get into drawing is family, because I have a really annoying family, but I love them a lot. But they would ask me a lot of things to do a lot of stuff, and I need to. And completing them exhausts me so much, and I usually try to get that done, or like whatever they ask me to. So whenever I don't have any family business to deal with, I usually just don't have a problem with starting drawing, because when I sit at the table, I usually already have in mind what I'm gonna draw. So I don't really have that problem of staring at an empty canvas for an hour. I usually just start because I already have something in mind to draw. But yeah, usually it's like I need to do complete assignments before drawing, and that is why I'm super slow with my commissions right now, which is this semester with university. I need to complete all the stuff. But I'm not gonna vent about it in an interview. I already vented to everyone enough already. Yeah.
Okay. So, are there some artists or art styles that have influenced your own?
The first one that comes to mind is Bonson on Twitter. You probably, I'm sure you've seen some of their art. I feel like if you see some of the pieces, like the first few that will come up on timeline, you see the resemblance in my art, in my line art. I follow almost 2,000 people, and each of them influenced my art a lot. I got into a habit of saving pictures that I like, even though I never visit my saved tabs ever. But whenever I see a piece that inspires me, I usually just maybe I will look at it and analyze it with my spare time. And but it still stays in my mind for a bit, and that manages to I unconsciously get influenced by it. But yeah, the first specific artist is probably Bonson, and that it's just the one that I know the name of, because I can't think of it right now. I was lying. I didn't prepare for the homework. Okay.
So, how would you describe your art style?
I'd say scrapbooky. I'm trying to have a feel of. I like it rough.
Ooh.
And,
wait a second.
Anyways, and I like this pencil look. You can see it probably in all of my art. I like the sketchy feel. I'm not trying to be super clean, and I'm not trying to hang out myself with it. trying to find that style, because I've seen some people like being super focused on finding their style, and it's just distracting you from drawing. Just draw and you'll find it. And I can't really pinpoint mine and with what kind of style I have, because I'm trying to vary it. I have a super weird ADHD thing. I don't know. I'm undiagnosed. I'm diagnosed with ADHD. I don't think I have the right to say that, but whatever. I tend to draw something and then like drawing furries, and then I think, wow, I haven't drawn humans in a while, and then I think about that and I draw them, humans, and then like, I haven't drawn backgrounds in a while, and then like, have I worked on my coloring yet? And then and the trick is that I think about all of that, but I never actually work on it, so I just do the same thing all the time, and it's just in the back of my mind, like, am I varying my skill set or not?
Right.
And it's just chaos in my mind usually. I forgot the question already. I hope I answered it.
Yeah, more or less. So, what do you do on your spare time when you're not drawing or going to school?
I'm being a clown. I like making free circus shows to everyone. I honestly, I wish I knew what I was doing when I'm not drawing or not going to school. What do I like? I'm gonna have an existential crisis.
You're a busy boy.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not even that busy. I like to procrastinate. I watch TikToks. I'm like quirky like that. I'm sure no one does that ever.
Oh no, I like TikTok.
Really?
TikTok,
oh my god!
Yeah, I love TikTok.
I love TikTok. Wow.
Send me your favorites.
Shit. Okay. I'm gonna send. You just tell me your ad, and that's
okay.
It. I'll be spamming you with TikTok.
Don't worry, I'll message you after this.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Annoying my friends. I like annoying my friends over chat. I like sending stickers. I like sending horny stickers out of context where you should not send horny stickers.
You sure do.
And it's I find it hilarious and the comedy. Yeah.
Just a comedian, aren't you?
So I am a clown, basically. No, I'm not a comedian. I'm a clown. Please know the difference. Yeah,
you're right. My bad. Bad.
Thank you. That's it. Next question. If there are any questions.
Well, these are actual more general questions for Jericho. So,
okay. Oh, back to the star. Let's
go. So people wanted to know why there was a little thingy popped up on my thing. Is there a reason why Axel had to leave Cyrus in the alleyway?
That is something I'm gonna have them sit down and talk about at some point. But for the most part, there was a little bit of a whoopsie daisy during their mission to bring Cyrus back to the base when they were in Tensia, and they had to make an emergency diversion in order for the people after them not to get Cyrus.
Are there things that were lost in time, such as the use of the pen and paper, or is that just sort of like a Smelly Cooper type of thing that he never picked up?
I often joke about this with one of my friends who really likes Cooper. Cooper is I joke that Cooper's just stupid and never really learned how to actually write with a pen and paper.
Stinky.
I would say that in this world there are some things that did not translate over well through time. Probably it'd be hard to answer or pinpoint a lot of things, because at some point Cyrus will probably find things that aren't from where he was.
So people are really curious about the Axiom and the storage system and how it works. Are there limits to what you can store? Can you store organic material? Can you fit a person in there?
I'm sure. Honestly, I have played around with the ideas for that a lot, but for the ones that we've seen, at the Axiom that Cooper has, the ones that Aaron, Ring, and Rose has, Cooper's is like a very generic model. It's very meh. I also joke that he just found it from a dumpster from a rich guy's house. 'Cause it's so it doesn't. It was made to look really like basic compared to the rest. Because his is like not made for him. It's like the bottom of the line. So it can do a lot, but not as much as the others that like Ring's really big one when he's out on a job can do a little bit more than the rest. But as for like storage, like sometimes I try to like visualize like because our phone's like 128 gigabytes and like, well, how much would a car key be in data? So I try to like kind of convert it. So it's like, it's probably like 5 gigabytes of data, maybe more, maybe less.
Oh, interesting.
If the Axiom screen was big enough, it could fit a person, but they'd probably die.
Oh, that's too bad.
It's not like they're in stasis or anything. It's that it deconstructs them and makes them into data. So yeah, they probably die.
Interesting. Okay.
Is it kind of like the transporters from Star Trek, where it just basically turns you into data and then just remakes you like somewhere else?
Basically, yeah. I don't know much about Star Trek except for one episode where I don't even know what the captain's name, but like an alternate version of him came up and the crew was like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm him," but the transporter broke, so we just got cloned. Something. Yeah, I remember that existential thing happening. I'm like, "Ooh, I wanna play with that." It's just like digitizing people, not really like transporting them.
Right. Wow.
I wouldn't say that was a direct inspiration, but I have thought about that a couple of times.
So, somebody was curious. Cyrus makes a comment when he's getting clothes, where he's asking for normal clothes. So people are wondering what is considered normal clothes in the era that he's in right now.
So I that's another area I wish I could go back and like fix up because we weren't intense here for very long at the time. And I wish I built it up a little bit more, maybe had some more people in it, because it's very hoity-toity, like almost like, what is it called in the Hunger Games?
The Capitol?
The Capitol, yeah. It's like it's kind of like that, where they like wear kind of weird looking clothes most of the time because they can like afford to look tacky as heck. But that was mainly just because they were in a hoity-toity part of the world.
So, if it's spoilers, then just say that it's spoilers. But can you give them a rough estimate of what era the story takes place in? Like how long ago compared to when Cyrus was still with Damion and the rest?
That's hard. That's hard to like really. I would say spoilers.
Oh, okay.
It's 2007. Everyone.
It's like, well, time is different depending on where you are, so I'd have to like sit down and think like without spoiling. So I would just say spoilers.
Okay. Well, you already answered this one, but just so that you can reiterate it, can the people expect some not safe for work content in the story?
I mean, there already technically wasn't there? Like when you had to give Pooper a bath.
Pooper bath time.
He was nude. Obviously, that's not like haha super sexual, but like I want to be like pretty. What's the word? I would say yeah. There's probably going to be some NSFW content, but like quote unquote, I know people are wanting to know if there's like sex scenes.
Yeah, or that's pretty much what they're asking.
I would honestly just say you'll have to find out. Like, it does make me feel a little uncomfortable when people just want to know if the story is going to be horny or not. Like,
create it yourself.
Make your own little fanfic.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know. It irks me when people like are like, oh yeah, there's one. I can't say where it is because I don't want them to get like shit on, but they were like, oh, I had to leave as soon as I found out the main character is asexual. Love the rep, but I'm horny. I was looking at that and I'm like, great, thanks, bye.
I remember that.
Admittedly, when it was revealed in that scene, there was like a whole lot of comments of like, "Oh, he's asexual, so we're not gonna see him and Cooper and blah 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 blah."
Yeah, which I mean,
Y'all
to
need
be
to
fair,
chill.
that was another thing I wanted to play up with Cooper. Is I remember people were like, "Well, we saw him naked early, so that means we're going to see him in NSFW scenes, right?" And I'm like, he sold you, baby girl. Why do you want to
Is
have
this
sex with him?
humongous dick not gonna do anything?
No.
It's made for peeing. That's it.
But on the other hand, there have been people that were happy that he was asexual, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I remember like really early on. I think in chapter 2, somebody made a short video of how they were like live reading it to themselves, and they like, I don't know if they cried, but they got choked up where they're like, "Oh my gosh, there's someone like me," and that made me feel really good because I'm like, yes, I want to put out things that I want to see, and that I hope other people want to see.
Wholesome.
Yeah, I've read some comments. I know I remember at least one saying that, "Oh my God, finally, actual representation that is
Yes.
accurate in the vision." And I was like, "Oh my God, damn! I didn't know he was asexual."
Yeah.
Let him read the visual novel. Good for him.
Admittedly, at least for me, and not just on it's safe for YouTube standpoint, but like on it actually does make me feel uncomfortable reading sex scenes, and not just like in dating simulators, but like sometimes with the smoke room. I will literally have to cut out the entire like sex scene, and it's like, well, is it really losing anything? I hope not.
I mean, you shouldn't feel bad. I know George, the writer for the smoke room, and I feel bad because I will just like sometimes I'll make like slits with my fingers to just like read the screen so I don't look at any of the sex scenes because like I'm like, oh, I don't want to miss anything, but I also don't want to look at anything because
Yeah.
I personally don't do well with sex scenes.
We're not trying to put down people that enjoy like sex scenes because God knows I enjoy sex scenes, but I also enjoy not. So it's like, you like what you like. We're not trying to put down anybody that likes that stuff.
Exactly. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, you know.
Yeah. I'd say TSR and Adastra did it the best. Like it always feels really like.
Oh,
it
absolutely.
Really like organic. That's what I care about. It's like I'll like read it if it's organic. But I know some stories that I've read that it's like, oh, we're being horny now. Okay.
You're gonna shame anyone in this team who's horny.
No, never.
I would probably have to.
Here.
I would probably have to cut this out, but there is a there's a story that I had to read.
Let them know
that it was for somebody that didn't want to read it. So it's like, oh, you read it for me. It's like, okay, why? It's YouTube content, and it's like the first 2 days it's fine, but then on the third day it just switches to everyone being horny, and then like the further it goes, it's like the more not explicit, but the more like they're super into it, and you know that they want to do something, and then towards the end of what's there, they're basically in a bathtub together, and you just like got together, you just saw your friend who you haven't seen for 7 years, and you're now in a bathtub with them, and you're like rubbing them down, and then the guy's just telling you like, yeah, get naked in front of me, you know, stuff like that. It was super uncomfortable to read it.
Is this Morinatsu?
No.
Oh, I was like 7 years. Like, is this Morinatsu?
That's what I was thinking.
Did that happen in Morinatsu?
It's been so long.
It's do you want me to tell you which one it is?
If you want, you can type it in the chat. You can just type it in the chat if you don't want to say it out loud.
They're gonna eventually see which one it is, but yeah, it just felt
no
super
way! Oh my God! What?
Jean, stop! Oh,
Y'all
I've seen that one around. I don't know anything about it, but
I've heard of that one. Yeah.
Like at first, the story does seem like really nice and whatnot, but then just like a switch flipped, and then it's just horny.
I will say that I can. Oh.
That doesn't surprise me because that visual novel looks horny. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just that's what I expect from it.
I think that I for one, I totally see the appeal of of wanting something to be really intimate and sexual right away, and I do think there is some enjoyment in that. Like I'm trying to think, like Nekojishi, it's like my guilty pleasure visual novel because it's super corny and like unrealistic, but I personally I go back to it all the time because it makes me happy. So I definitely can see that why some people would just want it like right away.
Right.
But I think there's a line of like, am I supposed to take this serious? If so, it's taking me out of the experience. Because some stories don't need to be serious in order for them to be enjoyable. But if you're trying to be serious, you got to know the limits.
Mm. So, anyways, back to your visual novel. People wanted to know when or if they're gonna be able to see Pooper Scooper again.
That's what you get. That's the answer.
Yeah, that's the answer. Honestly,
Okay.
That's another one of you'll just have to find out, I guess.
Oh, and I wanted to know this one too. Is there a reason behind Axel's black sclera?
This is actually something I will spoil because I've been meaning to write this, but I haven't had the chance. Honestly, I just think they look cool. Like even my persona has them.
Wow.
And the reason why he has them closed all the time is because a long time ago, someone said that he looks scary with his eyes, and that made him feel really, really bad because he doesn't want to scare people.
Oh no.
So he keeps them closed all the time because of that.
Baby, no.
Sexy with those eyes open.
I had a scene idea of him like trying to help like some kids, and they got really scared because of his really like intimidating experience or appearance. So after that point, he got really insecure about them.
Oh my goodness, baby.
Well, a little silly question. Who would win in an arm wrestling contest? Cooper or Damion?
Me.
I mean, as much as I love Damion, because he's kind of a beefcake, a little bit.
Yeah.
Cooper would just crush him. Like,
I mean,
the dude's like a mercenary with actual guns and literal guns. Like,
yeah.
he would crush Damion.
I mean, he snapped that guy's leg in two like it was nothing.
True, he sure did.
Damn, boy.
He's done, and Damien's never had to like. I mean, Damion got his ass kicked by a homeless guy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's true. It's very true.
So I don't think he'd do well against this other homeless guy.
Actually, will you be making a cameo in this story?
I've thought of like ideas of like I have like group scene ideas, and instead of just like making a bunch of new characters, I'm not going to do anything. I might just like DM a bunch of friends, be like, "Hey, give me your persona ref so you can be in the background of the scene I need." If I was, I'd be in that kind of thing, but I wouldn't. I don't think I'll ever have like a speaking role. That'd be weird.
Well, this is a bit of these more are shared questions. So, how did you meet the furry fandom? Like, how did you discover it?
League of Legends.
Wow.
I used to play when I played like all those years ago. I met the character Nasus, who is a big giant jackal.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Tumblr, I found a bunch of art of him, and I'm like,
ooh.
"Oh, my eyes opened. My third eye is open. I understand." So it's because of League of Legends that I'm here now. So y'all can take that as you will.
How long ago was that?
8 years ago. It was right out of high school when I was like 18 or 19.
Okay.
I'm old. I'm 26 soon.
Oh yeah, that's right. Let me think about that one because I've been in the furry fandom
longer than I was born.
I think I've been in the furry fandom since like 2000. And I don't even know what because I started off at Gaia Online.
Ooh.
And I made I wasn't a furry yet, but I made Orion, and he was just a wolf. He wasn't like furry or anything. He was just a regular wolf. And then from there, I met people on Gaia there was like a wolf pack role play.
Ooh.
And Orion was like the beta. He was like the beta of the pack or something. And
You're a beta.
I met somebody. I think his name is Kaji. I think he was the first furry that I met, and then we got into Fur Affinity, and then I was on Tumblr, and I think it really took off whenever I was on Twitter. So I think I really kind of like. I think it was more so Twitter, because I was on Fur Affinity for a while, but I didn't have friends from Fur Affinity. It wasn't until Twitter in like 2015 that I started meeting friends and stuff. So yeah, I'd say about like 2015. Good old Twitter.
John?
Yeah, I was always a furry. I was born into this fandom, and it came to me. I have created it. Yeah, I literally just looked into a Twitter post that had a hot dragon, and I felt things I didn't think I would ever feel, and it was never the same. I was trying to log into my old Instagram because I remember posting a story like, "Oh my god, I might be a furry," and there was this art because I know this. I still follow the specific artist that made my awakening, but yeah, that was that.
Wow.
And then my life was never the same.
No. Completely
And I'm
changed.
here. Yeah, I'm here. Have to get bullied by two furry adults all the time, and I get to bully them.
I didn't know you were. I didn't know you were so young. I saw you a long time ago on Twitter. I think I was like, oh my god, this person is so good. His art is so
like
great.
Yeah, I'm just Asian. That's that's it.
That's just fine.
Baby.
So, assuming you read visual novels, what are some you like? And I know Jericho already talked about this a little.
Yeah, Ad Astra, obviously, Neko Jishi, Echo, Love. I mean, there's some like non-furry visual novels I read a long time ago, like Time Hollow for the DS. That's an old one. But as for like the mainstream ones, Ad Astra and Neko Jishi are probably my favorites.
You have opened up the floodgates.
Oh gosh, is it time for you know who to come out?
So I honestly haven't read too many visual novels in the past. The only ones I've read, well, before I got into the furry visual novels, the first one I read was Umineko, and that's like 120 hours of craziness, and I absolutely loved it. It's the best visual novel I've ever read. It's kind of what inspired me to want to make a visual novel in the future at some point. It still inspires me even 10 years later, because I read that back in 2009. And then I read Moronatsu, which Moronatsu was kind of like the only furry visual novel at the time.
Yeah.
There wasn't really anything else. And even then it was kind of a pain in the butt to get to work.
We were desperate back in the day, I mean, let me tell you what.
And that's when I was still trying to accept that I was gay. And so I was like, man, this wolf that can play guitar and has a band.
Oh, Koya.
Love him. I was probably, I think I was like 19 years old. And that's, like I said, that's all we had. So I didn't really touch visual novels for a very long time after that. It wasn't until at least 2 years ago, somebody was raving about visual, like the Echo Project visual novels, like Echo and Ad Astra. Someone was raving about that on Twitter, and at the time, I know this sounds bad. At the time, I didn't have like, I didn't think very highly of furry visual novels, because I thought they were just kind of like all horny and no story. And so when this guy was raving about it, I'm like, let me give it a shot. I'm gonna try reading Echo. I read it because I want you to be wrong. But then I read it and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Trauma.
This is trauma. This is amazing and trauma. And I read Ad Astra and that was also trauma. And then I read TSR and that was more trauma. And I'm like, this is so good. I love to feel horrible whenever I'm reading visual novels. And so they're really the Echo Project visual novels are really what kind of they brought back my creativity, made me want to draw again, but then it also brought back my drive to want to help or like make a visual novel in the future. So yeah, I've read everything Echo Project related. I have not read anything outside of Echo Project, aside from RTF, obviously. I'm going to venture out more soon because there are so many that I have to read. Yeah, those are the big ones.
I mean, you could just tell me to read them for you too if you want.
I could just I could just hop onto your YouTube.
Somebody already does it, and they can't be bothered to read, so I have to read for them. So yeah. Anyways,
That's fine.
So what has been your favorite thing in regards to working on this visual novel, for all three of you?
I think mine's definitely like the routine of it. I'm very routine oriented, but it's also a routine that isn't super stressful. Like I can sleep in. I just have to like write a few hours a day to like really stay on task. And then also like the night before the build's out, Orion and I will just be like thinking of like, oh my gosh, what do you think they're gonna? Do you think they're gonna like it? What do you think? And we just like hype ourselves up, and then we post it, and then I personally like usually just refresh pages all the time because I'm like, I want to see what they're saying. I hope they like it. Please like it. So, and then I see that they're crying, and I'm like, yes.
So what was it? What was it like before I joined the team though?
What was before?
It was better.
Oh, wow. John, what?
It's kind of hard to think about how far things come because in the beginning I did all the coding. You could definitely tell that people were like, "Oh wow, it's so much better now." As soon as Orion jumped in, which like it's fair. I had very rudimentary. This is my first time coding anything, so I'm like, I just needed to work, and it worked, and that's all I needed. But Orion made it like actually worth looking at. So before it was just like, oh, I hope nothing's wrong. I hope that they can actually like play it. And we never really had too many bugs that were like game breaking.
No. Just the very beginning because I was also learning things. But no, it's all good now. We have it all ironed out. We're fine.
We have our schedule. The schedule, yes, that's my favorite thing. The schedule and the payoff.
I'm liking talking with people the most when we discuss. Oh my god, have I been interrupting someone 3 times in a row?
No, go ahead.
No.
I'll go after you.
As you should. And I really like talking and just hearing your ideas that are just ideas when you're throwing it out there. And just imagining it and seeing both of you interact, or like just in a in Discord server, seeing people react and just how you talk with them. And Jericho like say once in a while, like twice, approached me and give me an idea, and they're like super excited, and they say, "Oh my god, yes, say less." And then I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry, actually I can't do it, but I wish I could." But
oh yeah, we had like an animation that we were going to work on, but maybe one day we'll be able to do that. Yes,
hopefully. And yeah, one of those moments was just super precious and cool to see people interacting with each other.
100%.
I wish y'all could see Orion and Zhang behind the scenes, especially for like a upcoming build. They were like talking like, how can we make them hurt the most? And they're up at like the crack of dawn when I'm asleep, and I'll see the group chat and there's like 50 messages and like whips, and I'm like, I'm sad now.
Oh yeah, it's fun. It's equally fun. It's equally fun showing you my stuff and then getting your reactions as it is like seeing people's reactions to it. Yes, because we are at plate, and I'm like, hey, I messaged because we have like a group chat of like for the art stuff, and I'm like, hey, Jean, how do you feel about this idea? Do you want to make this hurt more? Because like, because
like always yes.
Because Jean hasn't read the visual novel, but we do tell him what's going on currently. So I'm like, we should do this because it'll hurt more. Let's do this.
And John's like, you're awful. I hate you. You're repugnant. I can't believe you. You're canceled. I'm doing it right now.
But then he's like, yes, we're doing it. I'm like, yes, thank you. So for me, it was really just kind of really, it kind of just like suddenly joined the team, right? It was fun just learning Rempe because I spent like a month straight just studying it and researching it, and I learned a lot. And I like to keep learning more about it, and it's fun to work as a team to bring like Jericho's ideas to life. Because Jerry, like I said earlier, Jericho will give me ideas or like how he wants the scene to play out, but then I'm like, wait, what if we do that and then also this? And then I show him my idea, and then it's we're like gold from there. So I like coming up with new ideas to like surprise Jericho, because I like to see Jericho's reaction to stuff. But yes, it is a lot. It is fun working as the team. It's fun to see people's reactions to it, because God knows I also refresh pages a lot because I want to see more comments, and I look to see if people are playing it, playing the visual novel on like YouTube or something. And because there's one YouTuber, they go by Naoki Cooper Games.
Oh yes, love her.
She's great, but I don't understand what she's saying because it's a Spanish YouTube channel. But her reactions are enough. Like I showed Jericho her reaction to like the train scene with like my animation and Zhang's animation.
Yeah.
And she was like so ecstatic about it. It was very wholesome. So I love seeing people's reactions to stuff.
I will say sorry, something happened. I will say that Orion has motivated, like once he joined, I got motivated a lot more to make write more and better, because I want to see what he'll do with it. Because before, I did have to limit myself a little bit of what was going to happen in the stories. There have been times where I'm like, I don't have the assets for this. I'll need to rewrite the scene, or I don't know how to handle this, so I might need to rewrite it. But Orion has always gone above and beyond to make it like super good, even when the ideas are barely formed. He's done so much, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
And I'll keep doing this until the very end.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a little silly question also. So if you found yourself in the world of Remember the Flowers, what would be the first thing that you would do?
It's a good question.
Find out how I can work for Axel's bar.
Find an Axiom, because God knows I won't survive without it.
That too.
Make out with someone.
Oh, who?
Whoever
Sean?
finds me, maybe Cooper. He will
Sean,
kill me
no.
anyway. Maybe.
Sean, no, you're doomed. He's gonna sell you.
It's fine. My world.
Just the price he pays.
This world has already
No.
died.
And
So Jericho already said that he doesn't really have a favorite character, but do you, Orion, have a favorite character? And
ooh, I know that everybody loves Axel. I'm probably gonna give the same response that Jericho had. I know that everybody loves Axel. I also love Axel with all my heart. But I'm a big fan of Cooper because I'm excited to see what could possibly happen with him in the future. Also Ring. I want to see more of that boy. He's a tsundere for sure. But we've seen him have like his tender moments with Cyrus, like at the dinner scene. And I have a feeling that I'm going to love him more and more as we see him.
Y'all are so gay. What about Rose? Where's the girl power? Oh my gosh, she was
I
never
love
mentioned.
Rose.
Well, she's my favorite character, even though I have no idea about her. But I had fun drawing her. I really like the design as well.
Yeah.
You make her look like such a gremlin, and I love it.
That's the energy I got from.
That is her energy.
I turn everyone to gremlins if you think about it. I don't know. I just putting myself into everything I enjoy. You know.
Cooper's my favorite Cooper's my favorite character, but I think Rose is design, I think. The characters.
Slaying.
Yes.
It's funny.
Boots the house downing.
Rose actually had a jacket in her concept art, and then we finished the sprites, and I'm like, oh, we forgot the jacket. Oh well.
Damn. Maybe we'll go back and put them
she
back
had
later.
a sleeveless jacket, and maybe I'll post it somewhere. And maybe it'll come back when we have the time.
Right,
to
I
put it in.
think I noticed that and was like, wait, something changed. And this was like in my initial sketches, and then when I started cleaning it up, I'm like, wait, okay, never mind then.
That's that.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate accident. Oops.
That's fine. Maybe in the future.
Yeah, we
It's
can
fine.
edit
She
it
gets to
back in.
show off her guns.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's sleeveless because she rips every sleeve she's ever worn.
Yeah.
She flexed and her sleeves fell off.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess this is the end. And do you have any final words for
Oh my
the
god, finally.
people on the internet?
Oh my god.
John.
John, you're such a
I mean,
diva.
oh my god, it was so fun having you. Thank you for
What an
coming out.
honor.
Yeah.
Final words. Thank you for supporting the project as long as y'all have. When I started this over a year ago, I was like, this will be a fun thing to do in my spare time. And it still is. And I'm happy to share that feeling with all of you. So thank you very much.
If you want to make a visual novel, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to start it. Just start somewhere. Like me, I just haphazardly picked up Rempe and was like, okay, I got to do this because I want to make a visual novel. Follow your dreams. Also, thank you for reading Remember the Flowers.
Period.
Yeah. What about you,
Period.
John?
I agree. I subscribe, and they're all words you both have just said. I amplify them,
Thank you.
and yes, love you all. Whoever will listen to it. Those are my final words.
Well, I guess that's it then.
Woo!
So we're done. So
Yay! I'm gonna
We
frame my
did
hands to
it.
clap. We should clap. Let's clap together. Yay!
Yeah, boy. Proud of y'all.
Nice. Thank you, Nero, for compiling those wonderful questions for us.
Yes.
Thank you for having us. This is
Yeah,
the
of
first.
course.
It's probably obvious this is the first time I've ever done this. So thank you for asking us. This was really interesting and fun to do.
We did our best.
Same.
thank
None
you
of
for
us
saying
have done
yes,
this
because I
before.
thought you would say no. So
Wait. Oh, I was super excited. Orion said, "Is like, do you want to do an interview?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh yeah, I was like, yeah. Nero asked me, and I was like, let me ask Jericho, and then it was like 5 minutes later, and I was like, yeah, he wants to do it. Let's do it.
oh, okay.
Let's go for it.
Yeah, you got a nice setup and you have a wonderful personality. Honestly, I expected it to be cringe and awkward, but
Jean.
it was
Fine.
good. It was good. What?
John, I'm gonna kick you.
And to
I'm
be
gonna
honest,
kick you out of here.
I told you that how honest can I be, and you told me that I can't be honest.
You're right. That's fair.
Yes.
It's fine.
So thank you, Nero. We
Thank
could
you.
hug you. We'll hug you.
Well,
I'm hugging
thank you
you.
all for being here and doing this for me,
You're
and
so
for the people on
welcome.
Yeah, of
YouTube and
course.
the internet.
And look forward to Build 9. It's
Yes.
coming out in like
Yeah.
what, 5 days, 6 days.
Yeah, I think May 19th is what we
Yeah. 6 days.
Yeah.
Ooh,
It's a fun
a
one.
special day.
It's gonna be a fun day.
Yep.
Mhm. Oh my god. Your channel better blow up after this interview. If it will, you're welcome.
I didn't know Sean was so humble.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. I'm trying. Yeah, I had a character development here and there.
Actually, I should say the usual outro of thank you all for watching / listening. And if you would like to play Remember the Flowers yourself, you can find it over on Itch. And of course, you guys all know that I can't post the Itch link down in the description because I don't want YouTube to get mad at me. But you can find it
Ooh.
on the Remember the Flowers official Twitter page. And it'll have a direct link to that. And I think you guys also have a direct link to the Patreon there.
Mhm.
Yes.
But I also
Give us
post the Patreon link down in the description. And I guess that's it for now. And bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.